Good afternoon. This is our first visit back since school started. So this is transition for students with significant complex needs. And I'm Charlotte Guy, and I'm the person that's going to be presenting today with you. So feel free to just, jump in if you have questions. You can ask at any time. I really welcome that. And Twinkle Morgan is also on the call with us today. And if I can't answer it, I know Twinkle can. So, all right. So am I able to change the slides, Jen?
No, I will have to if you want me to share for everyone. Now, can everyone see the slides?
Yes.
Everyone can see them? Okay, perfect. So if you just tell me.
Okay, go ahead to the next one.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, there it went. Okay.
Okay. Jen and I talked about dates for training because we wanted to make sure that the dates were okay for you all so we could have more people on the call. And she was telling me today that Monday looks like the best day of the week for all of you. So we just had somebody else that entered the room. Okay. So Monday seems like the best day of the week for the poll that she took. So we need to look at having 2 trainings in September and 2 in October. We may not get to 4 trainings because it is a short amount of time since we're getting started like a week late today. So Jennifer, do you have any dates set for September and October that we could go ahead and let them write down?
So I did not set dates. I know that for the people that responded, most people, I know we're not going to hit a sweet spot for everybody. Most people that responded, Monday was a good day. Some had Wednesdays. There were others that were like, I think Devin was one that Mondays were going to be harder for him at times, but I'm hoping that if we get those dates selected and firm that up today, and I send out those calendar invites, that hopefully their teams can try not to schedule too many meetings where they would be needed on those dates. And if they do, then hopefully those meetings, if you need to join us a little bit late, we definitely understand that. We know some of you serve in that role that you get to choose the schedule for your meetings, and some of you not so much. So we get that. And that is why we record these, so that we can make sure that everybody who's on the team gets the information. Do Mondays look good for the group? Overall, please speak up now, because what I got from the emails was it was mostly Mondays. I know that isn't 100%, but mostly. And we definitely want to hit a day that works the best.
So. Chandra said that she has classes Monday and Wednesdays. So if we do on Monday, she won't be able to attend.
Do you know what time her classes go to?
I'm not sure. I think it's probably 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
So that might be something, if you shoot her an email, she can tell you exactly what times, but she said she talked about it last spring that she would be in those classes.
Okay. Last spring was a long time ago.
It was, yes.
I'm just teasing.
Does Monday seem to be okay with everybody else on the call? Okay. All right.
Yep, we'll make it work.
Well, we will be, Jen will be recording it. So for those of you that can't be on the call, but, we certainly would like for you to be on, because it means so much for everybody to participate during it. But you're welcome to shoot me an email or something if you have questions about the recorded training. feel free to email me and I'll email you back or either give you a call. So if we look at September 30th, would that work for you, Jennifer?
Yes, I believe that should. I need like a third screen right now. No, just kidding.
No.
Yeah, I do believe that should work. And yeah, I could definitely do the 30th. And then if we want to do we want to squeak one more in there,
Yes.
the 14th?
Isn't that when we leave for the conference?
That's Columbus Day. I don't know if y'all,
Oh, is it?
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes the schools have hunting season day that day. I'm working.
What about October 7th?
I'm open there too. So we could do 2 weeks in a row there, and that way we'd get 3 in before we have our on-site.
Okay, where are you getting the third one? If we do September 30th.
The 7th and today.
Okay.
I was counting today, sorry.
Okay, all right. I wasn't counting today. Okay, we can do that. Okay, I'll just have
Would
to.
those dates tentatively work for everyone? All right. Unless I hear otherwise, I will get calendar invites for those sent out.
Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about today as we go through the training about the on-site training that's going to occur the 21st through the 23rd. And we'll talk about that in a little bit about the times and where it's going to be held. So just hold on, we'll get there. Okay, to the next slide. I want you all to look at this. So there may be some corrections. Originally, we said there were 8 transition teams, but when I went back and checked with the names I had, there were 9. So do I have somebody on here, Jen, that should be off of the list?
No, if you remember when we talked, Alicia, who was part of Bighorn 1, is now part of Bighorn 2.
Okay.
She's the special ed director there. So she is still very much involved and interested. She's in meetings today.
Okay. All right. So this is the list of the 9 teams that are going to be involved in the training and also to be at that on-site training. And it's really important that these next 3 trainings that we're having, that you attend or listen to the video recording, because you're going to need this information in order to really understand what's going on with that on-site training. So make sure if you can't be here that you look at this video, the videos that are going to be recorded. Again, I just want to stress that it's really important because so that you will understand the terms that we're talking about, the process we're talking about. We want you to be familiar with that while you are at that training, because the training is not going to be going back over what I have done with you. It's going to be actually putting the process into place. So that's why it's so important that you get all this information. And on the next slide, this is going to be talking about the team members that are on each of these teams that we have. And we need to look at, when we go over each of the groups in a few minutes, who actually is that lead team member, because that lead team member is going to be the person that really is going to start coordinating things and complete the planning process with you, because we want you to do this as a team, not as a solo person, because it's a lot to get done. But if we divide it up into team approach, I think everybody will be happy and they won't be overworked. Instead of one person saying, I don't have time to do all this. There's no way. And Twinkle, from her experience with the school district that she worked with, that's the approach that they used, was as a team member, and it seemed to really work with them. When I was actually teaching a high school transition class, it was me. I was the main part. I was the only person that was doing the whole process. I was doing the discovery, I was doing the job development, and it was hard, but I wanted my students to work so bad. I put that time in with them because I was seeing that they were successful. But not only were they being successful during the times that I had them at school, when they were graduating and leaving school, they were continuing to keep those jobs. And as you've heard me, through the last school year, some of those students have been on the job for 20 plus years. So, I felt good about putting that extra time in to see these kids working. And I know Twinkle has done the same exact thing too. Now, as individual team members, that's when you're looking at the person that's going to connect with the student. And if you have, 3 or 4 people on your team, that's when that lead person really needs to talk with you and see, who is going to be observing that student. Who is going to be doing activities with them in the classroom? More than likely it's the teacher, or if they have speech language, the speech language person or someone may be doing, or you may do it, both of you do it at different times to see. Sometimes the speech therapist may be getting different information than the classroom teacher is that they can share with each other. And also, who's going to meet with that family member? Because somebody has to explain the process to the family, and the family, will be involved and be a part of this whole process. They're not left out. It's not like when we go in and do testing and, the family is not included at all. This family will be a part of what's going on. And also, that person is going to need to get releases signed, whether it's photo releases in the community, or releases for us to use the information. Those are things that have to be discussed with the family. And we've gone over that in our training last school year. So if you're not familiar with that and you do have questions, feel free to email me, or I'm sure Jennifer would be glad to answer questions. And I know Twinkle's usually available to answer any of your questions also. So between the 3 of us, if you don't have that information, reach out to somebody on your team also. I would rely on that team member, that lead person, to give you that information. But if not, we'll be glad to work with you. And then also, what's the teacher's role going to be? Who's going to interview the students' friends? Who's going to interview other teachers? I'm sorry, my allergies have really been bothering me the last couple of days. So that's why we really need to decide who's going to do what. And as we look at each of these teams today, maybe we can get a little bit more information so that we can pinpoint exactly who that lead person is, because it's going to be important, especially when we start doing the mentoring, because Twinkle and Melinda are going to be doing mentoring, and Rhonda and Lenny also will be doing elementary. So it's important for them to know exactly who that lead person is so that they can go to ask questions if they need to. So as we go to the next slide, and on the next slide, this is where we're starting to look at each group. And the first group I have is sublet. And when we had talked earlier, when we had a phone call, I believe, I mean, I have it in the notes that Mandy was going to be the lead person with this group. And just by chance, she's not here today, but hopefully she'll go back and she will look at the video recording and have this information. But if you look on the opposite side, it says roles of the team members to identify the student. And I know that Sublet has already identified a 10th grade student. So if anybody is here with the Sublet group, you know, if you want to add some information here, please do. And we would want to know who is going to meet with that parent that's on this team. And these are the list of names that I have that are on the team. And also the VR person is listed here. But we would need to get those releases signed. You know, who is going to gather the information when you start looking at that student career portfolio? Who's going to be the person that's going to get the information from the records? Who's going to go talk to that parent and see, you know, what is that student's activities like after school and on the weekend? And then what person is going to document that information? It may be that the person that's gathering the information is going to document it, but it may be that you're giving that information and there's just one person that is putting all the information into the student career portfolio. And we also want those photos, and it's very important that you get photos, and we'll be talking more about that today. And also last school year, we talked about photos, that looking at the student doing an activity, not looking at the camera, you know, being photogenic here. We're wanting to see them actually doing some work and how they're doing it. You may also want to include some videos instead of photos. Families may have photos that they want to send. Maybe they were involved in an activity on Saturday, or it was a family gathering on Sunday. You know, you may want to have photos of them. Again, we want the photos to be of them doing something. We would like to see other students that you have, if you have photo releases, doing other activities so that we can include that when you're explaining what customized employment is. And we'll be doing some of that on our next training, so I'll explain that to you. Setting up the planning meeting. You all, we've not gone through planning meeting yet, so you're not going to know exactly what's going on, but I will be taking you through a planning meeting, because you will be doing that during the on-site training. So you're going to need to be on the call or be on the video. And I know I've said that about 5 times, but if it weren't important, I wouldn't keep saying it. So I would need for you to be there, so you're going to understand the planning meeting that you're going to do with that student. And Sublet has identified that 10th grade student, and that 10th grade student would be a student that we would also do a planning meeting with. And then looking at the team, which member of the team is actually going to be setting up work experiences? Is that going to be Mandy because she's the lead person, or is it going to be the teacher that's at the high school? And then how are you going to include that VR person? That VR person needs to be a part of this. And I hope that we can, since we have the names of most of the VR people, to make sure that they're invited to that on-site training, that, you know, they would be available to be there to see how beneficial this process would be for them, because you're going to be gathering that information, and then you're also going to be giving it to that VR person when that person, when that student graduates or goes on to be eligible for VR. So that information is so important. Now, since we have some folks on here from Sublet on the call, we do, don't we have some folks on here? Jennifer,
I don't think anybody's on right now. Norm Cox is their SPED director, and he was tentative. I haven't seen him join yet. Mandy is coaching, and Virginia is joining late because she's in an IEP at the moment.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, and those have been, I don't know where Stacy is. So I didn't hear from Stacy actually. But those three I know.
Okay, so the role of the team members, we're going to need to get that information from Mandy, and she can, email us the information, or she can call and talk with us. But we really need to know who's doing what so that that person will be accountable and we can go to them and say, did you get this done? Because if the releases are not signed in the photos, we really can't go forward with that student. So those are the most important things. And I do have in the notes here that they have photo releases that have been uploaded. So we do have that information in the notes, because Twinkle took very good notes for us to go through. Some of the things that they talked about, I have notes on that we're going to go through in this PowerPoint today. So if we
Charlotte, may I interrupt just briefly?
Sure.
When she's talking about your district folders, for those of you that are new to your districts and your district teams, don't worry, don't get overwhelmed, don't let your eyes bulge out of your head or anything. I will catch you up. And I believe I've given you all access to those things, but if anybody has not yet browsed those or found them, I am more than happy to walk anyone through. And so there's a training folder that I keep all of our historical pieces, and that's for everybody in the group. But then each school district team has a folder that only you as the district members, and then the trainers and myself and Laurel have access to. And that way, as you're putting in the release or any information about your student that you're identifying to work with, that remains confidential. That is your district team's folder to catch those working documents. And also keep in mind for those districts who maybe have not identified that student, or I know that one of our districts, the student they had the releases and they were all set, the student moved. And we know in our world of special education that always seems to be a possibility. So don't panic, take a breath, it will be fine. But for those of you that are joining us as newer members of your team, what I do want you to know is as you identify your student that you're going to take through this process, we don't want you to choose your most involved student at this stage of the game. We want you to choose a simpler student in this population, just because we really want your focus to be able to be on the process that you're learning and not all the complicated pieces that could be involved.
Thank you for reminding us. Twinkle, I don't know if you wanted to say something or not, because she had asked about, having a link and some information. So why don't you go ahead with that?
Sure. And so I'm wondering, Jennifer, if you want to show them, because the district team folder is separate from all the trainings. And last year, at the end of the year, we actually did a meeting with we were able to meet with most of the teams just to kind of wrap some things up, excuse me, and talk about things that still need to be done. And some people were very gracious about, well, I'll get it done over the summer. And lo and behold, I went and looked, and, yeah, they got some things done. It was like getting a release, or if the student was there. So if you weren't part of that, and my recollection is I emailed them to everybody, but some people didn't check their emails during the summer. So Jennifer, you don't want to walk them through the district folders real quick, because each team should have their next steps form, and just to remind you what we said still needed to be done. Just so
let me see if I
they
can
know where to
pull
find
that up
it.
here. Just a moment. Go into the drive. Okay, so here you will see it's a drive folder that I have shared with each of you, and the title of that folder is Discovery Through Transition School Team Training 2024, which I'm going to add the 2024 through 2025 now, since we have moved into that school year. And if you go back and you look down through here, you will see historically for we had 8 web trainings last spring, from February through May. And so every one of those has a folder with the date of that training. And then if you open, I'm just going to open April 11th because it's right here on top, and you'll see that it's got the copy of the PowerPoint, and then it's got the Zoom link with the recording that you can go back and access. And then in that folder, we also have like the draft discovery guides, some activity ideas, some general handouts from the meetings. And then if I go all the way down here, you'll also see where it has like the student career portfolio. So browse through there and you'll be able to find any of those materials that you need. And then I just moved it over here while I click out of that to get into. And then there is another folder that is going to be called Discovery District Teams 2024, which I will also add the 25. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to close that off of that screen. And so then every district has their own folder. But if you try to go into a folder that is not your own district, you won't have access. And so if you have any doubt to the confidentiality or the security of that, try to click into somebody else's and you'll have access denied so that you can feel confident that that is secure. Otherwise, you only have access to your own folder. And then I know that while Callie was in charge of our DVR folder, she said, give access to everyone. So I think I did do that. I will go back and confirm if I didn't and make sure, because DVR, that's where they wanted to share resources for all of you to have. I will tell you that Callie will still be part of our team in doing the training, but she has actually taken a promotion into a different role, still dabbling with things transition. And so Jennifer Wilson will actually be also joining us. But they're at training somewhere. I can't remember where they're traveling this week. And so we don't have either one of them, but I have no doubt I've had the opportunity already to work with Jennifer Wilson. And of course, having worked with Callie long enough, I know they'll get caught up on today's recording and be up to speed. So, so those are 2 DVR people that we have, and I hope at least one of them will be able to join us in Riverton next month, if not more. And feel free to invite your own DVR people that you work with from your different areas, because I think that would be great. That would be absolutely great.
Okay. And back to sublet for just a minute. Since you're going to be doing one of the students that we're going to be looking at when we're there for on-site, and I'll give you some more update as we get to the end of this meeting, but Twinkle Morgan is going to be your contact person to do coaching with you. And when we get towards the end of the
Melinda's taking sublet.
okay, and I wrote down Melinda and said Twinkle, I guess because I saw that. Okay, let me say that again, because Melinda Ross will be the person with sublet. And so we'll give you her contact information, or she'll be getting in contact with you. And as we get to the end, Twinkle will, I'm sure, want to say something about that. So we'll save that to the end. So as we go to the next slide, which is Fremont, same thing with Fremont, looking at the role of those team members. And if some of you are on the call now and you know who the lead person is for Fremont, if you could let us know on this call.
That would be me.
Okay, that's you. Okay, good. Amber.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me write that down. And so in, looking at you being the lead person, getting things planned and organized, we want to look at and Twinkle is going to be the person that will be mentoring this group. Can you go to the next slide, Jennifer?
Yes, and you just said Twinkle will be mentoring Fremont 24.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So Amber's going to be the lead person. So Amber, when you meet with your group, if you could see, you know, who's going, or you may already know who's going to be the person that's going to, you know, meet with the parents, who's going to document this information. And when you get to the mentoring, we'll talk about at the end, that's information that's very important that Twinkle's really going to need also, and Melinda. And I have Robert Page as the VR person, and it's, you know, we really need to include him in all of this information too. Is that still the person, Amber, that you all are working with as far as VR?
As far as I know, he is.
Okay, all right, because, you know, oftentimes it changes. So, you know, we want to make sure that we have everything updated. Is there anybody else I need to include? Have I included everybody?
I think so. I'm not sure if Teresa is going to be joining us or not.
Okay, all right. So we'll just have a question by that one. Okay. So are you comfortable going in and looking with your team about who's going to do what, as you know, we have over their role of the team members?
I think so.
Okay, thank you. And I'm looking at the notes here just to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out with you all. And the next group, if we go to the next slide, this is Bighorn. Bighorn number 1. And if we have somebody on the call from there, do you know who the lead are?
So we have Sammy. That should be Sammy, not Cammy on there. S instead of a C. Alicia is no longer with Bighorn 1. She's in Bighorn 2. Chandra's teaching a class. And you have the rest of the team. You have Carrie, Sue, Sammy, and Dana all on.
Okay. So Tammy is going to be the lead person?
No, Carrie
There's
Sue
not
is.
a Tammy.
Carrie Sue?
Yes.
Okay.
And that should be Sammy, S-A-M-I.
Oh, S-A-M-I. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll go back and change that. And Carrie Sue's not on the call, is she?
Yes, she is.
Oh, she is. Okay. I didn't see her.
Chandra isn't.
Oh, okay. So, Carrie Sue, do you have any questions about what we really need for you to do as far as looking at, you know, your role as the lead person and going in and meeting with the team members? Any questions? I think she's muted.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear you.
There we go. There we go. Okay,
Okay.
no questions.
Okay, thank you.
And Charlotte, their action plan or notes are in their folder.
Okay, all right. So we have that.
Oh, so we will probably be changing our person. So just as a FYI, to a different person. So
Changing your student?
Our student, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to go with a less involved student, I think. Sorry, kind of a unilateral decision here.
Okay, all right. All right, so if we would go to the next one, which is Bighorn number 2, and I don't think we have anybody on the call from Bighorn number 2. And the only
Alicia.
Okay, and the only person I have is Alicia on the list, and I assume she'll have to give us the names of the other. There are other team members, right, Jennifer?
I hope so.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully she'll let us know if there are other team members. And also, we don't have the name of the VR counselor for Bighorn number 1 or Bighorn number 2. So we need to get that information also.
And then who will be the coaching contact for Bighorn 1 and Bighorn 2?
Right now, we just went ahead and did just the 2 students that are going to be
Oh, okay.
be there for the on-site training. And the reason we did that is there's such a short amount of time to get those completed. So I really wanted Twinkle and Melinda to focus on those 2 students. And then after we get this going, then they can divide them up who is going to be working with the other teams. But these 2 teams, I believe it's Fremont and Sublet, have a student for the on-site training. So
But Charlotte, if I may, if the other team leads want to send in, because what we didn't know, Linda and I met yesterday, which ones are going to do a student career portfolio, and which teams are going to do life books. That's the information I didn't have.
okay. And remember that the life books are for the elementary students. The middle school and high school will be doing student career portfolio, but right now we're focusing on getting that high school student, and that is who both teams are working on for the on-site so that we can have that information.
I know Bighorn 1 is doing a life book student. That was something I was working with Elisha last year. So we do have a life book student that we're working on.
And that's Bighorn number 1?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll get that information from you, because Rhonda Frost and Lenny Rome are the people that's going to do mentoring with the life book. And both of them will be able to review the life book and help you if things need to be added or changed, or if you run into some difficulty as to, how to word something in the life book, they can help you with that. And we have that in the grant where, coaching is allocated in there. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Any other questions or information that we need to get? Okay. Flat is, I know Karen's on the call and one other person from her group. Thea. Okay. If you go to the next slide, Karen, are you that lead person?
You want to? Yep, Karen's our lead, and then Diane Biggs is on there twice. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Tim's last name is spelled incorrectly.
Yep.
Okay. Can you spell it?
URBANEK.
EK. Okay. All right, I'll go back. I did see when I was reviewing the PowerPoint before I got on, I did see I had Diane's name on there twice, so I'll take that off and redo it. Okay, so Karen, as the lead person, you will need to work with your team who's going to, do which role and how you're going to do that.
Right. And we'll probably meet here this coming week to determine that. So that we can move forward. Since our student left that we were going to include, unfortunately she moved. So now we're going to a different person.
Okay. All right. So you'll need to look at getting those releases and everything done as,
Right.
as soon as you can. So,
yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
the VR counselor on there, I visited with our person, and she was going to talk to Erin in Torrington this last week, and I haven't heard back from her yet.
Okay. So we'll get that information maybe at the next meeting, because I'm sure you're all going to have some questions by the 30th, hopefully. Okay. On the next slide we have, this is Campbell County, and I only had one person listed there. So
That's who we have right now.
okay. All right. So we'll need to know who the VR person is. So since it's one person, I assume that's going to be the lead person. That's going to get started with that. And the next group, I'm not sure how to pronounce the school district.
Natrona.
Natrona, okay. And I didn't have a name of anyone with that group.
And you have all three of them on. It is Anna Culp, ANNACULP, Lynette Leahy, LANNETTE, and Devin Henderson, DEVANHENDERS. Is it ON, Devin? I think.
Yeah, it's Owen.
Okay. All right, so I have those, and it seems like you may have given me those names, Jennifer, because they sounded familiar. Maybe I just didn't write it down. So I have those. So since you three are on the call, have you decided who is going to be the lead person?
We have not quite decided that yet.
Okay, so you all need to just talk among yourselves, this week and decide who's going to be that lead person and who's going to do those roles, because you may have quite a few questions. You can also go back and review those videos that we did last school year. That would really help. But, we're available for any information that you might need to help you. The next, go ahead.
I was just saying thank you.
Okay. The next slide is, before I make a mess of this, how do you say that, Jennifer?
Washakie?
Washakie. Okay.
After Chief Washakie. It's native.
Do you have the names of anybody, or are they on the call?
She's on. It's Dion, and she's not got her camera on because she's sick, but she is on, and she is the Lone Ranger for hers.
Okay.
I'm actually being able to add another team member. She'll be joining us next time, and her name is Nikki, Nikai, Thiel, Thiel.
Thiel.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikki was Nikai.
Ki.
Okay. All right. And Dion, what is your last name?
Townsend, like Townsend.
Okay. All right. And it's Deon?
Dione.
Dione. I can make a mess of names, pronouncing them and writing them. So you have to help me with that. So Dion, are you the lead person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you will get together with Nikki and see if, how you're going to do this together, because since it's just two of you, I really would stress doing, dividing up who's going to do what, who's going to meet with the parent, who's going to document that information. Or you may, both of you may be going to do that information, but, who's actually going to type it up in that report. Those are things that you would need to go ahead and decide.
And we are, I don't know if this matters, but we are at different levels. So she's at the K1 level and I'm at the high school.
Okay. And who does middle school?
Julie Atkinson.
Okay, but she's not going to be a part of the team?
I haven't been able to catch up with her or the other two life skill teachers.
Okay. All right. So Nikki would be doing a life book. And we'll need to talk about that to see if you do have that middle school person, or are you going to be doing the high school by yourself? And like I said, when I was teaching, I was the only person I did that. And you probably know that student better than anybody else if you're that high school teacher. So it shouldn't be as difficult to get the information as it would be if you were like the occupational therapist that only saw them once or twice a week. It might be a little bit harder to get all that information. And the last team we have is it Tinton? Is that how you say it?
Teton,
Teton, okay. And
like the Teton Mountains.
okay.
And that's Tracy Welch.
Oh, okay. And Tracy's not on the call, is she?
No.
Okay. Hopefully she will go back and watch the videos. Okay. And let's move along because I've taken quite a bit of time with that I need to go ahead and talk with you. On the next slide, I had planned on just really going through this, but we've done this before, and this map has to be updated because we have renamed the groups we're working with is career awareness, career planning, and career development. And if any of you high school teachers, want to take on a project with your class you may have a graphic art class at your school or something, that you could look at how we could go back and redo this map. Because it does have different terms now we're using. The language has changed that we're using, like student career portfolio. We're using visual portfolio instead of visual resume. So those are things we're going to go in and update. But this map still is a really good instrument to have because it shows the flow of what's going to happen with each age group. And it takes you into the next group, what's going to happen as far as, exposing the student and then looking at work experiences. So this is a good tool to have, but again, it does need to be updated. And if any of you want to take that on, please email us or talk to us about that, because we would love that to be a project for you all, since your district is going to be the first ones to work with the groups that have the name changes. It's basically the same information, but the language has changed and the names of the groups have changed that we're working with. And on the next slide is talking about the career clusters. And you all should be familiar with those 16 career clusters that are on that next slide, Gina. So with those 16 clusters, when you're looking at career awareness, you want to go over those and look at the different jobs that are in with, say, agriculture. And if you go in, you can Google if you don't have all that information, and it'll give you a list of jobs that go under each of these titles that you have here. And with the younger kids, you want to talk about it, expose them to it. You may even want to take some field trips or have somebody come in and talk to your students. And then as you progress and move on to career planning and career development, you would be looking at having some work experiences that were on site at your school for these different areas. If you were older, looking at going out in the community, but you want to make sure your students are exposed to all of these 16 career clusters, and going in and Googling that too. If you don't have that information, I have the information if you need to get it from me, but it might be easier for you to go ahead and Google it and get those different jobs that are under each of those areas so that you can go over with your students.
Charlotte, they can also access those career clusters on the Wyoming Department of Education website under the career technical education. And they also have some great resources that they're always happy to share.
Oh, good, good. Okay, on the next slide, the work experience article, Jennifer sent this article to you to look at. And in the article, Norsiva actually is the one that wrote the article, and she's the person that's going to be presenting on the own site with you all. So if you'll look at that work experiences, she identified, I believe it was eight 8 work experiences she identified for specific activities. And in that article, she goes into talking about, you know, how you can go in and individualize those work experiences for that student, and talking about the purpose and what happens at different age levels. And so as she was going through this, it's on the next slide. And on the next slide, it talks about what those 8 work experiences are. There's, you know, you're exposing those youth to work, you're building on employer skills, and you're also offering a variety of experiences. And those experiences, again, go back to those 16 career clusters so that you are covering those and looking at those different jobs. But again, you're looking at the interest of that particular student as you get to when you're looking at job development in the community for that person. And also under those career clusters, it'll give you information about interests that student may have, where they might be best to look at. And also, as I talked about, you know, that progression of experiences from, you know, awareness to in-school work experiences to community work experiences. Now, on the next slide, that is where we're looking at those 8 types that I was talking about. And that's volunteering or service learning. Job shadowing. Job shadowing would be for younger students, maybe middle school students. You could have some high school students to start out with some job shadowing there on the school campus. And then looking at general work experiences, and then matched work experiences. And then we get into customizing, and that's customizing for that student that you're working with. And we go on to look at part-time paid jobs, and then a customized job that that student is going to have when they graduate, when they leave school. And then some folks may, you know, choose self-employment. And there's a whole training on self-employment that I do, and we'll get to that later on. And Jennifer sent you the article to look at, and we don't have a whole lot of time, but I would like for you to take that article, and with the groups, if we have, Jennifer, how would you go about doing this? We have 8 work experiences, and I would like for you know, different groups to look at each of those so that they can tell us, you know, they're just short paragraphs, what exactly she's saying in this article about those work experiences. And if you are already doing that at your school, if you're already doing it, you know, tell us about that and tell us what those experiences are. And on the next slide, it actually has the questions that you're going to look at. So if we could give those work experience type to go into the group, and then just spend, you know, just 5 minutes or so just discussing it, and come back so that you all can tell us about the information that you have. Jennifer, you're on mute.
Yes, sorry. I can put them into breakout rooms, but if you want it to be by district, then it'll take me just a minute to put them in.
It doesn't matter, whatever is easiest. And, you know, we don't have a whole lot of, it's 5:30 now. So I just want them to spend a little bit of time on that.
I'll go ahead if you're okay with it. I
Sure.
will just break them into, we have like, we have 12 of our team members minus us. And
Okay.
so I can just put them into I'll put them into like 4 breakout rooms.
Okay.
And they can chit chat on this and share what they're doing, or if it's all brand new. And then I will bring everybody back in 5 minutes.
Okay. And they need to know which experience they're looking at. You know, a group needs to do volunteering and maybe job shadowing. And the next group, maybe the next two, and divide it up that way so that everybody will get a different work experience to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, that piece, I'm not sure how to be specific, but I can pop in there and tell each group which couple if you want.
Okay, all right.
You or Twinkle might also be able to, since I made you co-hosts, but
Okay.
I know for sure I can.
Okay, so one group would probably need two job, like volunteer and job shadowing, and then the next group general work experiences and match work experiences, and then just one group to do the customized, and then that fourth group to do those last three.
Okay, so then let's break it that way. Room 1, do the first 2, the first breakout room. Breakout room number 2, do the second 2. And then breakout room number 3, do customized employment. And then that room number 4, do those final 3. And I am sending you now.
Go ahead and just put me in a room, Jennifer.
I'm going to move. You and Charlotte ended up in the same room, so I just moved her. So it looks like every room has Charlotte's in room 4, Laurel, you're in room 3, Twinkle, you'll be in room 2, and I'm going to, okay, and I'll just hang out in room 1. Did everyone go? Apologize, everyone. I have full bars. I don't know what happened, but I'm so glad that you all jumped right back in. Like, I feel terrible. So now the recording for this will be 2 sections. This last few minutes will be its own little recording, but I gotta love technology, right? I'm so sorry. Okay, go ahead, Charlotte.
Okay, group 1, you want to tell us about just, briefly about volunteer service learning, what it is, and job shadowing, what it is, and if you are doing any of that in your school, or if not, how do you plan on doing that this school year?
I will just say, Charlotte, before I kicked everybody out unintentionally, they got to talk about volunteering and service learning, and then they ran out of time. So they have that piece to report on. And go ahead, Karen, and start, please.
We visited about our job shadowing, and our vocational rehab counselor does a great job of lining up different types of jobs that the student can experience. They get to select it. So we're very lucky in that she's very proactive in getting those things lined up. We've also had some opportunity for students within the middle school to do things like putting items in a vending machine, that kind of stuff. So
The clothing closet.
oh yeah, we're going to do a clothing closet, sorting, those kinds of things. So
Oh, okay. And group 2 had general work experience and matched work experiences. And you may not have had time to do all of that, but if you could look at that and just briefly tell the group, because you were supposed to have read this before today.
We mostly talked about the general work experiences. When we put students out in the community, we like for them to be paid, but we've just been trying to carve out little jobs within the school that need to be done. So like after COVID, we came back pretty quickly, and so we would have to wrap all the silverware for lunch. Working with the maintenance staff, we have a student that really likes to go out and paint the lines for the football field. But then every Friday he gets to run the floor machine and clean like our physical therapy gym. For a while we had a kid in the daycare. And so just trying to use what resources we have in the school to figure out what things they really like to do. Stocking the items in a la carte seems to be the most fun, I guess.
Okay. Group 3, customized work experiences. You want to tell us a little bit about that, and if you were doing that or planning on doing it? And that's what we've been talking about for the last 2 school years that we've worked on.
I guess I could speak on that. I'm sorry, I forgot the lady's name in my group. She pretty much was telling us about her daughter's personal experience. Her daughter has Down syndrome, and she really valued all the experiences that the school offered of different, whether they were jobs on the school campus, and then it kind of broadened out to things in the community. And she felt like it was great for her to see what these different jobs were, because some of the things were maybe an experience that she felt intimidated by, or maybe she said, oh, I am going to like this, I'm not going to like this, but actually doing it taught her a lot. And she felt like she kept gaining skills that have prepared her for each step of the way. But that's all we had time for.
Oh, well, and nothing like having firsthand experience, listening to some success stories. And the last group, they didn't have a whole lot of time to really, talk about this, but I feel like they can still address some of this. Group 4.
So we started the conversation, well, I did, I guess, about the let me get to the right. Yeah, the customized work experiences. I'm very curious, just because given our situation in Worland, where a lot of businesses have closed down, there's very few opportunities for students, about kind of what other people were hitting and how to, do that. We didn't get into the conversation of like the part-time jobs and those types of things. Are they able to, I guess some of my questions are more businesses in other districts able to pay the students? Are they relying on having to work with DVR? What does that look like to be successful for them in these given, areas of the different employments?
And I think if each of you later on take this article and go to the back of it, and it'll give you examples of, the age that the student is doing these things, and some examples of exactly what's intended for that experience. So it's a really good article, and if you didn't read it, please go back and read it and look at that, because it really does have a lot of information in it that can help you understand the process. Okay, as we go back to the PowerPoint, and I don't want to keep you longer than we have to be, and so I will try to hurry through some of this, and if I don't give it enough attention, you can let me know and I'll go over it again when we get together on the 30th. The next slide should be slide 19. And some of you, when we met individually with the teams, had said that you would like to have something to hand the parents when you're talking to them about customized employment for the student. So I went in, of course, it's more than one page, but it's got some really good information in it for parents. You should have this in your folder. Jennifer put it in there for you, but it goes into answering, what is discovery and how can the family participate. So it gives some examples of how the parents can participate. And then it goes into talking about how we capture that information and how we use that visual portfolio. And again, it gives information about how that parent can be involved. And I think this would be a good tool to have if you want to, give a parent. So go on and look at that. And when we get together next time, since we didn't have time really to go through it, to see if you have some questions, or maybe you feel like there's something else that should be added to it. And the next slide looks at the on-site visit. I'm not seeing it on it. Hey, do you have it pulled up, Jennifer?
You're muted, Jennifer.
I'm sorry. I realized that I'm sitting here moving slides and I realized I didn't start sharing again as soon as I came back on. Oh my goodness. Okay, there you go.
Okay. All right.
I'm looking at the slides as they're transitioning. Oh my goodness.
All right. And this is talking about our on-site visit, and it is going to be October the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And Jennifer has it, laid out, and I'm sure she'll get back with you, or she may have already sent it to you, but she has the times that'll start. Like Monday, it's not going to start until 12:30. So it goes 12:30 to 4:30. And then on the second day, which is the 22nd, it's 8 to 11:30, and then there's lunch, of course, and then it goes to 3:30. And then that last day is from 8 to 12.
It goes till 4:30.
Okay.
So, and that lunch is, I also believe, somewhat of a working lunch, and lunch is provided. And that's so that with that schedule, making sure we get our contact hours for PTSB credit, and it's already approved. And we do PTSB credit for these webinars too when you're joining. So, and I keep track of everybody's attendance. So keep that in mind.
And you'll send out to them, where it's going to be and the information that they'll have. Okay. All right. So you already have that information.
You should have gotten that, Charlotte. So if you didn't, let me know. But I sent an email out to everyone. So let me know if in the chat, if you have not seen that. I sent an email out, and it's got our location, where we will be, the dates, the times, and the hotel block. The Holiday Inn is giving you guys the government rate of $110 per night. That government rate is $107 right now, but October 3rd it goes up, so they're going on that $110 rate. And all you have to do is call in, and I gave you that information with that little code they said. It's important to give them that, because the following week they also have a WDE conference that's something different that they're also giving that government rate to. And so they want to make sure that you don't go and have reservations for the wrong week. That's why they did that. And anybody, also, I attached the Eventbrite link for you to get registered. As you can see, for those of you that have large teams, like the more the merrier, because it's either a single individual or a team rate, and it's really quite super cheap, I think. So get registered, get your hotel reservations, and please reach out to me if you have any questions.
And on this own site, there's two groups that you've already identified the student. And we also need to make sure that the parents can participate in that planning meeting. If they can't be there, can they participate by video conference that we can get them in? Because in order to do that planning meeting, we need that parent there. So like I said, if we have to do a Zoom call with them, we can, but we need them. If they're not going to be able to participate, you may need to pick another student, because we really need that. And then we'll be talking about, the career portfolio, which is the visual and narrative, and the planning meeting. And I'm not going to go into any more of that because it's getting late, and I know that you're wanting to go on. But the next slide, and you can go back through these slides and look at them. We're actually going to go to two businesses during this time of on-site. We're going to go to a business that's open to the public. And I think Walmart would be an excellent place to go to because there are so many different departments that we can go in and look at. But this gives you examples what we're talking about when we say an open business, and then a closed business that's closed to the public. And this gives you some examples. And I think Jennifer is going to look at different departments, maybe at the college, because we'll be on campus there. And there's, offices that we might be able to look at. There's probably a cafeteria we could look at. It seems like on that campus, there's an art center or something that we talked about last time. I can't remember, Jennifer, but whatever different departments, but we would need to get that approved, that we could bring the students in there to do that. And on the next slide, this is looking at the career portfolio, and I'm going to let, well, not let, but have Twinkle, please. If you would look at that and say something about the coaching part of it that you and Melinda are doing.
Sure. So what we would like to do right now, while y'all are determining on your team if you're going to do a life book, if you're doing student career portfolio, or you're going to do both, because some of y'all have had changes with students. But for Sublet and Fremont, I believe both of them have selected a student career portfolio. And so what Melinda and I would like to do, and Jennifer, you would send us an updated list of participants along with their email addresses. We would like to contact you this week to set up a meeting with y'all, and whether it's just the lead person or anybody who's present, to find a day to meet. But we'd like to go through the student career portfolio to see what sections we need to discuss in a little in-depth, and some that we don't, like the contact or basic information. That was one of the things they were going to start doing, and you're going to have it done by August. So it's just a matter of going back and looking at your discovery, your district folder, and look at those notes. But we will contact y'all this week.
Did you mean August? You mean that they had ready by August? Or
yeah, that was the discussion that we had with the teams, that they were going to start their student career portfolio, whether the end of school or during the summer, or get a draft going by August. So our hope is to email y'all out this week to determine a time to meet. And it might be just meeting with the lead person right now. It might be a matter of taking a poll on what days you can meet. The team will always be invited to all the meetings, regardless if it's just the lead person or not. You're always welcome. But we will go through that student career portfolio. And the last time I checked, I was trying to look and see if Fremont or Sublette had a change of students, but I don't think y'all did. I think you're sticking with the same students. But we will email the team this week and we will go through, because the plan is you will have that draft student career portfolio completed by October 17th. And in the meantime, the other teams will be identifying, hey, we're going to stick with Lifebook, hey, we're going to stick with student career portfolio, or we're going to do both. So Charlotte and Jennifer and myself and Melinda, all the trainers, we can start dividing up the other teams. And is there anything else you need to add to it, Charlotte?
And remember just remember that the life book is only for the elementary students. The middle school and high school will do student career portfolio. And be sure when you meet with Twinkle and Melinda that you discuss the parent, because at that planning meeting, we need the parent there, whether it our guardian there, and anybody that wants to be invited by Zoom meeting could be there. I mean, when we get to planning meeting, we'll talk about who really should be there. If it's trend students, who we need to be there at that time. And then if we would just look at the slide, I think it's 24, and then we'll be finished, because I know you all are tired. You've been at work all day.
Whatever you want me to.
You're part of other things, and I can be a part of this. And it's gonna be much better, makes sense.
Devin, your group needs to be put on mute, I think, unless you want to talk to the group about something.
I'm so confused. No, we're just gonna focus on whatever we want to like.
Okay.
We were at middle school because we had what's her butt was gonna be on the team with us.
Oh, Kayla. Yeah.
Kayla was gonna be.
Okay. Dev, okay, thanks. Okay, this is our last slide that we're going to talk about today. But at our next training, we're going to be talking about the student career portfolio. And we are also going to be talking about that visual presentation portfolio. So I really need for you to bring to that meeting on the 30th, to bring some photos, a photo of your school, so you could have that as the first photo in your portfolio, you know, saying that this is your school, you know, who you are, whatever. And then if there's a logo or a mascot, you know, include that in there also. But we need some photos of students working in the classroom, or if you do have some work experiences, because we want to get in groups on that 30th, so you can develop this yourself. You can do it during that training when you have me there. Twinkle, I'm sure, wants to be in on the calls. So if you could bring that information and we could help you put it together, and that way you're not doing it alone and you're not sure if you got the right information in it, because we'll be right there with you and you can be doing it as a group. So each of your teams would be doing a portfolio for that student. And if you have, we'll send out an email I'll send it to Jennifer, and she can send out to you to remind you of what exactly you need to bring to that meeting. And also, if you want to do it, you know, if you want to have it so you can show it virtually, that's fine. But I always say to have a backup in case, you know, you can't show that video to an employer, but you're welcome to do it either way. That's going to work for you. So if you need to video some of the students, that's fine too. But remember, you just need short clips of things. And that's all that I have to go over. Do any of you have any questions? I know I threw a lot of information at you for this short period of time.
This is Afton Kiss.
I can't hear you.
She
She
froze.
Oh,
And just for the other teams to know while we're waiting for her to come back, I put my email address and my phone number in the chat, and I put Melinda's email address. If y'all need to get a hold of us, I mean, I will try to get an email out to the team by tomorrow. And I'll let Melinda know. There she is.
and the
Okay.
reason why we're being, really stressing with those two groups, because we need it finished by the time we get there for the own site. And we know it's not going to be perfect. It's your first one, but we need that information and for that training.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to hold really still. So you've likely addressed all of this. I could just use some clarification. So we're going to meet with our student, get our student career portfolio going, which I think we do. When and how does this presentation look? So I guess my question is, are we presenting sometime during the 21st, the 22nd, or the 23rd from our school, or is the expectation to bring the student and the parent to Central Wyoming College?
So Shoni,
Go ahead.
one of the things we talked about because of your proximity is that it may be easier for you to get that parent and student participation if we Zoom your team in for that piece of it from your district, and then you guys can pop over and join us for the rest. Sure. I can visit with you, and I'm hoping to touch base with Laurel and Charlotte tomorrow so we can kind of work out those kinks, because we definitely need to firm that up. And I don't, Virginia is with us from Sublet, but also however we can best ensure that, the student, the parents, and whoever those other pieces of that team are can participate. Then we can set up Zoom for some of those team members for however that looks for that piece of it, when you are the one that we're kind of, I don't want to say showcasing, but I guess for lack of a better word. And of course, with your proximity, maybe you'll be like, oh, we can bring them over. But I think a piece of it too, and as I have shared with you when I visited with you, what's really nice to highlight about your community is I feel that sometimes when we choose our larger schools or districts, it's easier to say, oh, in say, I'm going to use Natrona as an example. In Casper, there's all kinds of work opportunities. But I really wanted to get all of us thinking outside the box to see how even in the most rural and remote of our little communities and districts, there's lots of opportunities that we often don't even necessarily think of or realize are right there.
Absolutely. Okay. That's kind of what we were thinking too. So, and the reason I'm asking is we actually have this students IEP meeting tomorrow. And so we thought we would kind of plant the seed with the guardian then. And do you know roughly, is this going to foresee it taking about an hour to present, or do you have, just so we can kind of give this guardian a heads up? I think she'll be willing, but this is definitely going to be stepping outside of her comfort zone.
Okay, I would say an hour, no longer.
Okay.
And it may be shorter also, but it's really important because we need that student's input. And also, if they have any other family members that would like to be a part of the planning, and tell them the planning is strictly about employment. That's the only thing we're discussing is employment, nothing else about, and we're not discussing if the student can work, it's where he's going. So,
and then we can just present all of the things that we've done, but in the theory, or in the, I guess, under the guise that this is planning for this student moving forward, right?
Yeah, and North Seva actually will be doing the planning meeting. So you just need to be there because you really, I'm going to go over planning meeting with you all, but you're not going to have enough information to be able to do that meeting. So she will actually be the one doing the meeting. But if there are any friends or family members or any other students that would like to be a part of it, but remember, get those releases. And since you have an IEP meeting tomorrow, you could go ahead and get them to sign photo releases or the release
Mhm.
also for us to use information. So,
Okay, yeah, I think we have all that, but so then when we come to the planning meeting, we have our visual presentation portfolio, the career, student career portfolio, and then the team.
yes, and Norsiva actually will have your career portfolio, and she's going to be using it to do that planning meeting. And there may be things that left out because it's your first time. That's okay. We understand.
Okay. All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the clarity.
Okay. Any other questions?
And as questions come up from any of you, especially the two districts that have that student piece and planning and logistics prep, please feel free to reach out to me and to Laurel, and I will definitely, anytime there's a question, I'll be talking. You know, I email with Charlotte all the time. You can do the same if you need to, because I know there will be a lot of questions. This is going to be really great. I am super excited about it. If you look at that agenda, I'm super excited to bring everybody on site. So bring your whole teams, please.
Well, don't keep telling how excited you are because Twinkle is very upset that she can't come.
Sorry, Twinkle.
So maybe we can see how she could virtually, be in and look at it. We can talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, you've all been great. We've run over. I will document we ran over, and I'll count those minutes for you because I know how important that PTSB is. And I appreciate all of you. And I'm so sorry we ran over. Generally, I am a stickler to keeping us at 5 o'clock, but I know that we had a couple hiccups getting started. We waited, and then I accidentally kicked everybody out, and you guys were phenomenal at jumping right back in instead of saying, oh, wow, we get to be done early. So